Good evening from Münster in Germany to wherever you are. Hope you have a good day. So, streaming again. I don't know when I did 2 streams in such a short period of time last time. So, glad to be here again though. Alrighty, so last time I have been drawing some very detailed outlines. If you did not see that stream, have a look at my profile. There's a live section where you can find that stream if you want to rewatch it. And in the meantime, this artwork I have been working on back then has made quite the progress actually. Lots of lines have been added, and today I want to color it. Coloring streams or coloring advice is usually extremely popular with you guys. I'm getting asked all the time about how I set up my color palettes, etc., because it's not such an easy topic that you can like give advice on, like do this and that, and then you have your palette. It's not that straight process usually. So it's a bit mystical sometimes, even to me, or also to me. First of all, before I start coloring, I want to quickly give you the reminder that my Electric Bazaar stickers are now available. So it's this pack, and you can get all 3 of these on my Gumroad, and these are quite limited, so I think there's probably 25 packs or so left. So if any one of you guys wants to get one, hurry up before they're gone. Because so far I have no plans to reprint them again anytime soon. So that's the advertising for today for this stream. All right, let's have a look at that artwork, shall we? So I have this nice garage scene here, and it's really, I think it's one of the most detailed environmental works I've ever done. Actually, it's really, I went all the way with the details here. I had lots of fun, and it took me quite a long time to finish these all. So usually I try to be done with outlines. I mean, of course it depends on how complex a piece is, but usually I try to be done with the outlines after around 10 to 15 hours maybe. And this one actually took me like 22, 23 hours probably. So it was, it was quite a lot of work, but I just went with the flow and it felt good. So I think that's when the process is kind of showing you that you're doing something that's fun to you, and when the process feels good, I think that's always great, because then you usually are on the right track there. That's what I have with this one here. There are a couple of details that I still have to add, which is the screens here, and also there's supposed to be some rotor fans here and here in these kind of cages. And I'm going to add here on the sign, there's some stuff missing, so I'm going to add that later on, because I now wanted to start making the colors, because I grew a little bit impatient actually. So I really wanted to go into the colors, because I thought like, man, how long do we want to work on this? So we'll do that today, and I'll go at the last % of details later on. So Andres, hello, nice to see you again. Glad you like the stickers. Yeah, it's I'm really happy about how they turned out. So the details are great. I don't know if you can see that actually in the camera, but the details came out. Yeah, I think you can see that quite good. details come out great, and and it's meant to be kind of my business card for the next event I'm going. So here's my details on the back, and it's meant to be my business card when I'm in Lisbon for non-fungible conference. And yeah, the packs I'm selling now are kind of bonus. So I made 100 of each, and I thought, like, to get the printing costs in again, I'm just selling. I thought about selling a maximum of 50 packs. So 25 is left now, so half of them are gone, and the other half, like, of the total print run is for the Lisbon event, and everyone who comes to me and asks me about the sticker will get one. So that's the plan, at least. Everyone who's nice. Yeah, so that's that. If you want a link, let me know. I'll give you a link to the shop if you are interested in getting them. They're 14 euros plus shipping. So yeah. Koala, thanks very much. Glad you like the work. And yeah, must have 100k strokes. Actually, no, it's close to 20,000 strokes. So it's 19 something or 18 something. So that's the actual stroke number. That includes the scribble. So this one here, the layer in the back, the scribble layer. So this one is kind of included, but that's, of course, far less than the actual drawing. Yeah, it's a lot, definitely, it's a lot. But I mean, with all these hatches, etc., they also all count, you know, these here and etc. So that comes down to quite a lot of strokes. So, by the way, I'm going to make like in the old days, actually. So I don't know who of you guys have been here a couple of years ago and started streaming, but we had these draw and drink streams where I also not only made some art, but also opened a can of beer or two and talked about the beer. And today I've been working out and I've been eating not so many carbs today. So I thought I'd reward myself with a beer, and I have a Brewdog New England IPA, some special edition. So I'm going to enjoy this one, crack that open. So on a Monday, well, it's not the most, maybe not the most prominent beer drinking day, but well, why not? So cheers. Yes, tastes good on a Monday as well, not only on the weekends. All right, so about coloring this. So this is meant to be a night scene, so I want to have a nice night environment. And what always works great in general, but also of course if you want to have something at night, is that nice warm or cold and warm contrast. So the plan is here, and I already started laying out some colors, but I'll explain my process to you so you don't miss anything. I did that while while waiting for the stream to start and talking on the phone just a few minutes back. And so the plan is here is actually quite simple. So I'm going to switch on the reference for you. Oh, here's my reference for the motorcycle, by the way. Okay. Procreate is sometimes a bit weird with this reference. Damn it. I have to... Whoops. Okay. Good that I didn't break anything. I have to get this in the right... Okay, it doesn't wanna... This is weird. So now it's fine. Okay, well, I love Procreate, but it has some minor bugs here and there. So Let's see. So I have this. It's actually it's quite simple to set up this palette. In theory, of course, we'll see in the process that it's not always like chipping away the colors and there you go. It never is. I think like finding color palettes to me is never like coming naturally as some quick part of the process that you just have like fixed steps for, or any kind of defined approach that always works. It's always a bit of thought and a bit of brain work. But first of all, like we have this, for example, this bluish gray color here that we can pick as a dark and cold version, and then we have this orange. Maybe sometimes some more yellow would probably do good. We can try that out later. But the plan is to really just have a basic contrast between these cold blues and the warm oranges or reds or yellows. And then we can add some variety. So for example, here we have similar grayish blue than this one, but I just added more red, so it goes in a little purple direction. And we have, quite close to this. And what I'm doing now is just giving it some variety, but not too much, because I think for scenes that where I want to have this night atmosphere, I don't want to give it give the palette on the colder side too much busyness. So it's not supposed to be super busy, because when you imagine you're going out at night and you're just looking around, one thing that happens to your eyes is that the contrast between colors is lower compared to daylight, and I want to simulate this in the palette by not giving these areas here that are in the dark, but not giving them too much variety and not making them, like giving them too much contrast. So that's the idea here. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, I mean, I did this very quickly, so I don't even like this purple. I mean, I always like purple, but on this particular piece here, I think something more like with less red in it works better. So same here. So yeah, Matthew, yeah, it's not a surprise stream. I announced it on my Discord this afternoon, but it's maybe you didn't see. RTO the Thechel. Sorry for butchering your name, but thanks very much. And oh, Paper Legend is here. Cheers, man. Nice to see you. Hey, Raphael. Nice to see you too. Oh, Endorphins is here as well, man. That's nice. Some well-known people. Good to see you guys. So yeah, this let's turn to this darker areas here a little bit before we move to the warmer and brighter areas, because yeah, it's not so easy to not have it too boring, you know. I don't want to have it like as a boring and dull kind of scene. And there are objects, obviously, for example these gas bottles here, or the rusty parts here, that will not be blue, but the tricky part is to make them look like they are like in the night somewhere, and in the dark area of the scene, but still give them a different color. So kind of let them look a little bit tinted in blue, but they aren't actually, or the other way around. I don't know. It's a bit of trial and error, I guess. You used to drink on. There's a saying. I don't know if that is there's a similar saying in English, but in German there's a saying that I'm drinking every day. Or no, that's like telling a joke and you don't know how the joke goes. I'm drinking every day that ends with a G, and on Wednesdays. So, and in German, every day except Wednesdays is ending on a G. So I guess this won't work in English, but I don't know. Probably there's a similar joke. There's most likely a similar joke that works with the same principle. So every day in German ends with a Tag, which means day. Tag with a G at the end. And Mittwoch is the Wednesday. And yeah, I'm also a big fan of any kind of IPAs. My favorites probably are the double dry hopped, the DDH IPAs. So I think these are in general, I mean, every beer is different, but lots of my favorites are double dry hopped IPAs. Yeah, is that the, like, it's every day in English ending on a Y? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, that seems to work, right? Yeah, it is actually, yeah. Oh man. I'm so good with language. So these rusty spots. One thing you can do is if you just color it along, and one thing you can do to align the colors to each other a bit more is adding another layer on top of your colors layer. Add whatever color you need. Like let's pick a lighter bluish gray, and then you can play around with the layer modes. So for example, if you take multiply, it obviously gets darker, so it makes everything darker. But you can also, for example, soft light is also always a nice idea, and you see how it has to be a bit darker actually, but you see how this rust gets a little shade of blue, an extra portion of blue. So this, what is now more like what now has a bit more orange turns into a bit something like purplish rusty red. And this is a good technique to align colors to each other's, and to bring them closer together. So if you have a huge number of different colors you're working with, you can like add this soft light or multiply. Hard light is also always nice to experiment with. And this one here is what's it called in overlay? Is it overlay in English? Not sure. In German it's ineinander kopieren. But I think it's overlay in English. So these three are good for or these 4, including multiply, are good for bringing colors together. So this one here is obviously a little bit like more saturated, while this one here isn't, and this one is again. Actually, these 2 are quite close to each other's. And I often do that in the end when I'm quite happy with the colors, but I think they need like some more alignment, and they need to come a bit closer and look like more, yeah, how do I explain? I think alignment is a good word, probably. Let's keep that. So I'll probably do that later on with this one as well. But I'll keep up the work for now. And I want to have the warmer stuff here. Oops, that looked weird. On a different layer. Because I may need to add something to this separately later on. So also for the animation, that's important. I may want to animate this sign, for example, later on. And what I do here is I give the sign the color of like what I imagine it would look like when it's off. So let's say it's a white sign, then I'm giving it some color that I imagine what white would look like in like when it's in the night. So okay, so something like this maybe. And later on for the animation, I'm adding a new layer, and I am giving it the color of the lit up sign. So for example, this looks weird now, but it won't for long. And then I can animate it later on. So I can, for example, switch this light on and off here. It's optional. I don't know if I will animate it. I think I probably will, because there's lots of neon signs here. So this will look nice if animated later on. But yeah, that's basically how I do it. It's quite simple. So basic colors on here, and then another layer for the turned on light. And then in After Effects, I can just switch this on and off, and yeah. By the way, I missed or forgot to answer a question. Didn't anyone ask about the Japanese signs? Or am I completely stupid? Oh, Andres, you asked about the strokes, or you mentioned the strokes, and then about the Japanese sign references. Yes, I'm using a translator called Yusho or Jisho, JISHO. That is, I think, a great way of finding out the right Japanese signs, because I don't know them at all, and it's so some kind of, yeah, it's a kind of dictionary. It's not a translator, so I would say it's a dictionary. But I found that, or people pointed me to the fact that my Japanese signs that I add to my artworks are often not 100% correct, because I used Google Translate or something for it, and yeah, it's not very good with Japanese. So I'm trying to find the the signs I need used in a sentence or something, or in some kind of context, so I can be sure it's correct. I mean, it's sometimes it's a bit stupid because I could also just use a language that I speak, which is English or German. But as these scenes are often inspired by, for example, here by Japanese architecture, and the whole vibe is a bit Japanese influenced, I always like to put the signs in there as well. And the canvas size, by the way, is I think 6K by 4K, but let me quickly have a look. I'm pretty sure it is. Where is it there? Yeah, 6K by 4K pixels. I first thought about going with 16:9 ratio, so it's from the start on fitted to screens. But I think that 16:9 is really wide for making art. And now what I did is I planned the layout and the composition in a way that I think it will be working on 16:9 screens as well. So if you for example cut it here and here, it will still work, or so that the bike is still in there, and here or so. So that's the plan. I hope it will work, because actually after drawing the lines, I didn't try again. But it's not that important. I just found it cool to maybe have an artwork again that also fits to screens, because people sometimes ask for that, and most of my art is in portrait ratios, so I very rarely do something that fits to screens, but I wanted to do that again. It wasn't the main reason for going with a horizontal ratio, but it was a nice to have bonus, I think. Narrating the next 2 minutes in German. I can do that, but I mean, I had this on Twitch, back on Twitch. I when I did these bonus points things, I sometimes had explaining a funny word in German kind of thing. I can answer Endorphin's question in German because I know she's German, and it's about an event in Berlin. Ich war nicht da. That's it, that was the answer. Nein, ich hatte das zu spät auf dem Schirm, dass es überhaupt stattfindet, und ich habe aber, also zum Beispiel ein Freund von mir war da und hat erzählt, dass es ganz gut war. Ich weiß nicht, ob du auch da warst, aber er meinte, dass die generelle Stimmung aber auch ein bisschen gedämpft war irgendwie, also so die generelle, ja, der generelle Ton oder so die Stimmung war so ein bisschen, Leute ein bisschen Zukunftsangst haben gerade irgendwie oder so. Das war so sein Fazit. Vielleicht nächstes Jahr. Ich bin dann in Lissabon. So, back to English. I mean, everyone can always ask me questions in German, by the way. It's fine. My streams are English, but I'm also fine to switching to German if I know that some Germans, if they have like technical questions or career questions or what that are not so easy to explain in English. That's fine with. It's fine to switch into German then. Alrighty, so I think it's probably a little bit too bright out there. So if you imagine this, I mean there's a shadows layer coming in later on. So this will add a lot of like contrast and darkness to the dark areas. I feel like it could be a tad darker still. I'm going to... So there's two ways of doing this. First of all, I can just go with a color balance, or actually the curves, and just take a little bit of contrast and also a bit of brightness, like that. So let's do that. And then there's what I actually did before, adding a new layer with a solid color and setting this one to multiply. And here we go. This one here, so the curves is great if you just do not want to change the colors, but only really the brightness and the contrast. And this method is better if you want to also correct the colors a bit. So for example, if you want more blue, or if you for whatever reason think this, then it needs to be warmer. So you see the difference is that it's now a bit warmer. Actually not that bad, to be honest. And you have a bit of control over the colors here. That's the two methods that I like to use, or that I know. So let's go with this. Oh, because of the strike, that sucks. Especially as there hasn't been a strike in the end, so that sucks even more. Oh damn. What concert did you want to see? Something cool, I guess. Jeremy, yes, I did use Clip Studio Paint before, and I think it's great, but I would recommend using it on the desktop and not on the iPad. So I'm mainly using Clip Studio. I'm mainly using Procreate because I just love working on the iPad. But yeah, the Clip Studio app for the iPad isn't. It's working well, so it's fine. But I think they should have they should invest a bit more work in making the whole app more tablet friendly. So what they did now is basically kind of ported the desktop version to the tablet and not changed anything else. And Procreate is much more intuitive when working with it. But on the desktop, I love Clip Studio. It's really great. I love working with it, and I, for example, let me think. I can show you this one here, for example. I made in Clip Studio. Can make it a bit larger, a little bit. So it's great, and sometimes I just love working on the on the desktop. So I have a larger tablet. I have a Wacom Cintiq tablet for my computer here, and sometimes I just prefer working on the larger tablet with just sitting here. And most of the times, though, I like the mobility of the iPad, so that's why I mostly also work in Procreate. But yeah, I can't do nothing wrong with Clip Studio. Actually, the biggest difference is that you have much more tools. So you have like a 3D function that is actually, I mean, Procreate has one too by now, I think, but it's not really, like, I didn't use it so far because it doesn't have so many functions. And in Procreate, you have like lots of editing features, like similar to Photoshop. So you can do much more precise color grading. You have better selection tools and stuff like that. So I would say it's more complete for professional illustrators, but well, other than that, I mean, I'm a professional illustrator as well, and I'm using Procreate all the time, so it's really a personal preference in the end, what you need for doing work. Yeah. Ruben, I'm going to have this recorded, so I see you're watching on YouTube, and it's going to be rewatchable after I'm done here. Just see, I'm a bit dark. Oh, brightness. All my streams are usually recorded, so you can rewatch them. So if you go to my YouTube profile and hit the live section, there's all my recent YouTube live streams. One of the main reasons I switched to YouTube as my main platform. I mean, I'm streaming to Twitch as well, but Twitch is more like, I can just stream to Twitch as well, but YouTube is my main platform now. Oh man, 24 hours before. Oh boy. Yeah, these strikes are, it's extremely annoying right now. I was in Hamburg a couple weeks ago, and there was a strike being announced for the next day, and I was lucky enough to get out of the city into the day before, but that meant that the trains on the day before were extremely overbooked and extremely crowded, and everything was chaos. So it's, I think, one of the most annoying parts is that not only on the days they strike, it's all madness and fucking around, but it's also the days before and after, because they have to like manage the additional passengers, etc. Yo, moin, GM. Bekommst du gleich Hunger? Was hast du denn da gesehen? Achso, hier oben, meine gute alte Never Changing Highlights, mein Banner hier, wo immer die gleichen Sachen schon seit Monaten durchlaufen, ja. And Savage Gasp, never heard of, actually. Never heard of Savage Gasp. What kind of music is that? It's die Spaghetti. Ach so, die Rahmenbowl, ja. Nice. Ich glaube, ich habe dich übrigens wieder geghostet, kann das sein? Es tut mir wirklich leid. Ich bin, ich mache manchmal einen auf schwer zu erreichen. Ja. Ja, ich melde mich auf jeden Fall nochmal. One disadvantage of my Randy Marsh brush is that the color fill tool doesn't work perfectly. So, I mean, I love the brush, love using it a lot, but as you see here, these small white leftovers are the areas where the color fill tool can't reach. And Randy has this texture that creates these, so it's a bit annoying sometimes, but it's also what, yeah, it's part of the characteristics of this brush. So I don't know if I should change it and make it more dense and flat. Jo, danke dir. Bis dann. So, just about to look for some music. Music.
We don't give a fuck.
Whoa. What did I do? Okay. I wanted to tune in something a little more beat. I think that worked. I hope that that's loud enough for you. Let me know if you need it louder. That's fine. But sometimes this lo-fi ding-a-ling is a bit, I find it's a bit boring. It's nice background music, but I don't know. So, I want to color these little plants here. Just wondering what color they should have. The beat is fun, but I don't know. Maybe. As I'm getting no reaction in the chat, I think probably not so positive thoughts about the music. I sometimes also think about like turning the music off in the stream anyway, because everyone can just add their own music, whatever they want to hear, next to me talking here. But I don't know, it feels weird when there's no background tunes at all. But then again, it's kind of some weird common sense between streamers that everyone just puts music on, while I think like, I mean, everyone could put their own stuff on, right? And we wouldn't have any copyright issues because everyone could hear or could listen to copyrighted music. Stuff that I am not allowed to play here. Stresses me a bit. Yo, Kapu, thanks very much. Glad you like it. So I think this sets quite a nice tone for the whole outside areas. So everything that is nighty blue. And for the inner part of the garage, so what's important now is where are the light sources. So where do we have areas where the light comes from, and we have these lamps here. We have these lamps here, and here we have them here, this area. But I think they are not so extremely important, because when I think about, when you look at photos or from your own imagination or kind of the references where you saw, where you've been outside at night looking into houses or into like open doors, some kind of, I think there's some kind of phenomenon that the whole space where you're looking at is kind of lit up in an interesting way, and I want to create this kind of feeling for the color with the colors here. So I think the color or the light sources are not even so much important. So I think what's more important is how to create the transition between this area here and here, where the light in the end hits the night, you know? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to color the whole garage in a bright orange. I think some cold light is also a nice idea, so some really bright and cold, almost white color, but the problem is that it won't look so cool. So simple as that. It will look much cooler if the color inside is warm, because it creates a much nicer contrast in my eyes. So that's really just my personal approach, because my color palettes are usually more saturated and use more red and more orange and stuff like that. So we're going to go with that. And then we have the car, of course. So this car is a Lancia Delta Integrale, Italian car of the 90s. At least this model here, which is a Lancia Delta Evo 2, I think, which has been built in the early 90s and was a very famous rally car. And I like the model very much. And it came very often in bright red, so I'm going to try to put this in here in red. We'll see how that looks. If it looks too weird and like a bit too over the top, I'm fine with changing the colors to something else later on. So it doesn't have to be red, but I think it's the iconic color that this car is known for. So let's try and see how it looks. Oh, now we get some dramatic music here. Yeah, it looks nice. So I like the contrast, but it's I'm just thinking like how to color the rest in the garage, like the all the items and all the elements in there. I also want to try some different. So this would be kind of a very cold light, maybe even that cold light version that I was talking about before. Maybe more realistic, but it's boring. Maybe a bit less red, maybe something like that. Yeah, let's try that. So now I'm thinking about the approach to coloring this part. There's also, as always, there's different ways, but I'm just thinking if I should not go the classic way, which would be to just apply colors and that's it. But to add a layer mode to this area here. For example, if I color it like this, so this would probably be the look if there would be no light at all. So kind of maybe even a little bit darker like this. So, and then the car is of course I don't know, like this probably. Just a quickie. So I'm just thinking if I should add another layer with this yellow color and put it to hard light, for example. And this would allow me to control the areas here in the back, because if I color this differently, the light will also hit it differently. That's really not so easy. That's not so easy. I think I'm going to try that, actually. I think I'm going to do it like that. Even though the car looks very weird like that, but well, we can sort that out. What's going on in the chat? Quiet times? Everyone lurking? Feels a bit like talking into the void right now, so if you guys have any questions or so, just let me know. You don't have to, but if you have, fire away. Just have to look how the cars backlights are exactly ordered. So there's red here and here. Where's the backlight? Oh, looks like this one here is the backlight. Interesting, didn't know that. Oh, thanks for the feedback, Kapu. Yeah, it's fine. You can get it absorbed. No worries. Yeah, it's something that is a very challenging part for me as well. So it's really, every time I start coloring an artwork, I'm sitting there and thinking like, okay, how do I do this now? It's not getting a routine. I would say it's really, you always have to put in the work to get a palette that works in the end, which I find really interesting and fascinating. And I think that's one of the cool parts of this process is that, I mean, you can have your go-to colors. For me, that's lots of purple. So whenever I don't know what to do with colors, I feel very much home with using purple. But even purple has lots of shades, so not that there's the one purple shade that always works and you'll be good. But yeah, it really depends on what kind of artist you are as well. So if you're an artist who goes for a more realistic palette, it's a different approach because you have to match your palette with nature, for example. While as I am more free when it comes to realism, which means that I don't have to pay attention to nature so much, but I have to pay attention to how things appeal when they don't have their realistic colors. So if plants are not green, what message do these plants convey, and how do people receive it, and what do they see in it, and with what colors does this best work together, etc. The Thechel. Oh, that's nice that you're learning a lot. That's great. I love to hear that. Yeah, well, then good luck with that piece. If you want, if you're a Discord user, feel free to come to my Discord and share it in the showcase channel. Always love to see what you guys come up with, and of course, especially if you took some of my stuff as inspiration. So no obligations, but I'd love to see it. Stress, thanks very much, and good luck with your work as well, of course. Yeah, I love to work and watch others do their work as well. It's nice. So I'm just wondering if this method is actually an intelligent move by me or not. This blending mode doesn't work. So usually hard light would be the mode to go here. But I don't know if it works with these colors, or if it creates too much, or well, if it's not controllable in the end. You know, that's the question actually. So I need to know if I can control. Some of these always look kind of funny and surprising. It's always great with these blending modes. So that's tricky. That's tricky. Because I want the car to look red, obviously, in the end, and not yellow. So and now it looks yellow if I use the hard light mode. Can of course experiment a little bit. Not like that. But I am not sure about this. Maybe I need to look at a couple of more references, but I will find out. That's always a good idea, even if you work with colors that are not realistic. References help to understand how colors have an impact on each other's and how light works in certain environments. It's always really important to me and very fascinating as well. So I think I will leave this part here as is and come back to it later and probably work around the garage door, because it will also help to see all the surrounding colored, at least roughly in the right direction, because it will help get a feeling for the contrast in the end. So I will keep on doing that for now. Why is it doing this? Oh, I know why. Wrong layer. Classic. Yo, Sidious! Glad you like it. Well, there's it's all dark now, so in the end it's supposed to look something like that, but I was experimenting with layer mode here, so I'm not sure if I want to go that or color it directly. That's what I was just asking myself. But yeah, glad you like it already. Why is it 100? I'm not such an expert with night scenes, by the way, so I'm also winging it a little bit here. Didn't do so many night environmental work. And it has its own rules. It's really definitely has a couple of special own tricks and hurdles and challenges. Yo, GM Russ Soren. Am I pronouncing that right? Russ Soren. Hope you're having a good day, buddy. Spot on. Nice. I put the signs here on a different layer, by the way, because so I can easily color them. Not reference clipping mask. So I can easily color them later on. So if I want to give this one different color, I can just add layer mask to the extra layer and do that. This one here means car mechanic, by the way. This one is no parking, I think. So it's always guessing, but I hope my dictionary is right. It's getting darker and darker here. Adjust my camera. Okay, those weird things. Hello. That's better. All right. Nope, Japanese has indeed Chinese characters, yeah. I cannot tell you how exactly they use it. Maybe someone else here knows and may want to help, but they have these here, which is Chinese, and then they have these here, or these here, and I actually have no clue. So it's a bit weird that I'm using a language in my artworks that I absolutely can't read at all, but it's for the coolness factor. Yeah, I think I once read a Wikipedia article about how exactly it works, but I forgot again. Ah, okay, yeah, that's possible. Oops. Oh, can you read some Chinese or speak it? How's it in Belgium, by the way? Is it like with Dutch and French? Is it so that you always learn both in school, or are there Belgian people who, for example, don't speak any French or don't speak any Dutch? Or do you even have another language? Not sure right now. You don't, right? It's these two. Sorry if I'm mixing that up. Ah, okay, cool. Well, we never know how the world will evolve. May come in handy that you have at least a little bit of Chinese skills. Really? So they just don't speak Dutch? That's interesting. I don't know how how the demographics are. So how many French and how many Dutch-speaking Belgians there are, to be honest. But I mean, from French people, I know that they often do not like to speak other languages. For example, English. Roast beef. Yeah, scary indeed. Really scary. Especially when they will start making the war against Taiwan. Because we all need more war in the world, obviously. I think Dutch is probably... I mean, Dutch has a couple of similarities to German. Of course, the pronunciation is very different with all the... and yeah, there's some weird stuff that Germans can't really speak very well if they try to speak Dutch as well. But I think for French, it's really, it doesn't match the way they learn to speak. You know, I think it's really different from the sounds you have to make with your mouth. So that's what I imagine, at least. I mean, it's I don't speak French at all, but from what it sounds like, my wife speaks French, and whenever I try to read something or just, you know, whenever I try to say bonjour, it's like she's making fun of me because it sounds like I'm going to have some kind of disaster going on in my mouth. And I'm going to hurt myself with my tongue or something. So I'd prefer to not try. Yeah, German Dutch has the vocabulary is something I can. For example, when I read Dutch, I understand most of it. So I don't speak very much, so only a couple of words, and I can say goedemorgen, but not very much more. And when I read it, I understand lots of it. so I can usually roughly guess what the text in Dutch is about, but that's it. One more, yes. I always wanted to learn a third language because I only speak German and English. And I always thought that I should be able to speak at least some Spanish or French or Italian. And I don't think my language, like, I think I'm a person who can learn languages very good. I'm also good at imitating dialects, German dialects, for example. I mean, there's a lot of them, and I'm quite good at imitating them. But I just never invested the time in learning something. I started some Dutch lessons, but only really just the basics. Oh yeah, but of course it's never too late. But if I want to learn something, I should do it eventually at some point. Yes, it's the same soup, that's right. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's I think you can learn language like 10 times faster if you just speak it in the right circumstance. Like you have to speak or have to learn it in the in circumstances. Mostly that being living somewhere where this language is spoken. Oh, and is Chinese included in the 5 or is it extra? I mean, in the end, it's cool to have these English skills, because I have lots of friends in my age who are not really speaking English a lot and who never really make any attempts to learn it. They won't need it, but I think it's maybe if you like to travel, etc., it's just the language that is very, very, like, it's just helpful to know a little bit. Apart from, obviously, watching Netflix is more fun for most series. Although I find this kind of opinion a bit snobby, so people like constantly telling that you have to watch this and that in English because it's so much better, which is true, but it's also a little bit of a people like to brag a bit about that, at least in Germany, that they are able to watch something in English. Silly tourist sentences. Yeah. I just have to think about this advertising in Germany. I don't know if it's even still running, and probably it's even a bit racist. I'm not exactly sure about that, but there's a beer garden, so a Bavarian, large Bavarian beer drinking place, and I think some Chinese people, maybe Japanese, I don't know what it sounds. What he says sounds. What they. I don't know. Like, they're supposed to be Asians, I think, and he's having a dictionary and he wants to order something, and the waitress comes and he tells her that he does not want to buy the carpet, and it's of course she knows what they want, so she just brings them a couple of beers, because what else do you want to order in the beer garden? And yeah, the guy is super proud that he was able to order some beer. And then, what's the story actually of the advertising? I don't know, that beer is universal, or that everyone always wants a beer. I don't know. I forgot. I don't know why this came to mind. I don't know if it's even running, but I hope not, because it is somehow a little bit racist. Yeah. But this ad ran for years and years in German television, so it's quite present, and I think every German knows this. I don't want to buy this carpet thing. So maybe you want to look back at the garage inside. Cancelled, yeah. I think I'm actually going to go with the direct coloring method, so not. Not doing the colors with this blending mode thing. Oh yeah. What's his name? Sorry, I forgot. But I like the work. It wasn't 100% down my alley in terms of like the line work, which is highly individual because it's. I think I love this work, but you know, I couldn't really vibe with his lines in some weird way. And just trying to remember his work and trying to explain this, but very cool work, and I like the subjects and he was working with in his artworks and some cool stuff. Yeah, and especially because he was just, I think it was this exact car he had in this artwork, right? So that was really funny. Yeah, there's definitely lots of similarities in the styles, which is interesting because usually I mean, obviously, when I see other artists who have a similar style to mine, I often like it because I find new aspects in their work that I can relate to my work, that I then think, okay, I can probably learn from how they do things. Yeah, it's definitely a good call. So, well, let me just try a couple things here. I find it really tricky to come up with the right colors for the inside here, the lit up part, because we have this heavy light influence, and then we have, of course, different areas here, like this wall that in reality is probably darker than other areas, and I just need to try how I need to color it so it looks lit up and still a little bit different from other parts, so it gets a little bit of a variety. And the really tricky part is the shadows later on, because if we imagine the light coming from the top, as I said, the light source isn't extremely important here in this area, but it's still there. So the really tricky part in the end will be how to handle the areas where the light obviously does not hit, which is under the car. Obviously, I mean, the light doesn't reach there. In the corners here. So that will be tricky. And I probably have to change my usual shading method a little bit to not adding a multiplied layer with shades, but actually adding some new color. For example, let's say behind the screen here is an area, let's say this area here, where the light does not reach the wall. I could probably go and give this color here, for example. So like that. Same with the screen here, which is be something like that. So that's a bit more challenging than usual in terms of shading and lighting. Or I give a fuck and ignore this and it will still look cool, which is possible, but I don't know yet. So this is something I have to try out later, but just wanted to point this out because I want to stream for so much longer, and I wanted to explain the thoughts behind, or I wanted to explain why it takes me a bit to find out how I want to color this area here. But the contrast itself looks great, in my opinion. So the direction is what I had in mind. It will look really cool when the neon lights are lit up in the end, and if we have a look at the other artworks from the series. So, for example, here, this, I think the colors are also in line with the series in general. So we have this one, which is has a bit of a different purple tone, like more saturated, a little bit more loud, maybe. And then we have this one here, which may need a little dash of purple in the end. So I could probably see myself adding a little bit of this in the end. So you see the difference. It's only a little bit, but it changes the whole vibe a little tad. But whoops, that's not for now. Yes. It's really it's cool. I'm having lots of fun because it's the artwork needs a little bit of different approach from me. So not that it looks different, so it doesn't look like it's not an artwork I made in the end, obviously, but my brain needs to work this a little bit more than other pieces, which I appreciate. Of course, for this artwork I will also upload the PSD file, so we can always check in the end when it's done. In case I won't fuck it up and it won't look like crap in the end. Then I will hide it and never share it with you. So I will upload the PSD file to my Patreon, and the patrons can then download it if they want and take a closer look, or print it out for themselves, because it will be high res as always. Yeah, good question, Megan. I remember I did a artwork many years back. I have one particular artwork in mind with a robot, and it has like wires hanging out of it like everywhere, and it's I found that drawing these wires into this artwork as little details and to make it more complex and to give this object, this robot, a certain weird complexity kind of felt fun to me. So it was just really, I enjoyed doing this. And yeah, it's stuck with me. I find it fascinating as well, and this whole thing of having cables and wires all around the artworks when it comes to the cyberpunk stuff. And it's not just me, of course. It's other other artists as well who like to add lots of cables in their artworks, which I find always so interesting, because when you think about science fiction and futurism, I mean, you would think that everything would go wireless at some point, right? So you would think that the future would be kind of wireless, but in cyberpunk it isn't really. So yeah, it's cool. It's just a nice way to add density and to create like a made-up complexity. Yeah, it's of course in my sci-fi work, it's now kind of one of the recognizable things you can find in much of my work, and people seem to enjoy it, so that's good. Little color correction. So I think I'm going to call it a day now. It's 10 in Germany, and I did work that much today, to be honest. So it's not that I have a long working day in the back, but still I think it's time to maybe stop at this point, pick this up tomorrow and play maybe a little round of Hogwarts Legacy until I can turn to the new Zelda, because that's the plan right now. So finishing Hogwarts and then playing Zelda afterwards. It's already ordered. So I don't know if you saw the Instagram story yesterday or the other day. I was announcing that I wouldn't order the Zelda if I wouldn't like before finishing a couple other games, but it didn't work. I saw a couple of videos and it looked so great, and I needed to have it. Yeah, so this piece here, I'm going to keep you updated as always. The Azahi collectors on Discord will see the progress first, so that's the deal. They will get some exclusive insights, early insights, but of course, when it's done, I will share it to everyone. Also, if you didn't see so far, my Electric Bazaar stickers are here. So if you want some, I think there's 24 or 23 packs left. Yes, 24 packs are left for now. So if you want them, go to my Gumroad shop and you can get these 3 here with this nice hollow effect for 14 euros. Plus a surprise sticker. Maybe, for example, one of those cabin stickers. And yeah, it was nice streaming again. Like double streaming this artwork. First the outlines, then the colors. If you didn't see the first stream with the outlines, have a look at my YouTube. There's the recording if you want to have a look. Megan, you enjoy doing cigarettes. Yeah, I have a cigarette in here as well. Look, she's actually smoking. So there will be some smoke here as well. Yeah, I mean, when I was young, cigarettes were still cool, so I like to add them to my characters every now and then. Funny. Oh, I hope you didn't just come in right now, because then you're late, unfortunately. But glad to see you still, and glad to see some of the old faces, the regular watchers in here. All right, friends. Have a nice evening or a nice day. See you soon, and bye-bye.